Last year at the end of the season, I had done a video talking about the end of season review at Indiana Beach and what might be to come. At that time, Apex had owned the park, but speculation rumor was saying that they were going to add a roller coaster expansion. It was going to be in that lot that this video is attached to right now. Now, at that current time, that lot was paved, but that seemed like the most likely location for some sort of major expansion to include a roller coaster, if the park was to do so. Then, of course, we had Apex go out of business. Gene Staples ended up buying the actual park. And then, lo and behold, we are sitting at the end of 2020 after the end of whatever you want to call this season. And I say that with all due respect because with the pandemic taking place and the timeline that the park had to prepare for it, they didn't really get to put their type of mix into the park. But last Saturday, I was driving through because my parents live in that area, so I was like, let me go grab an update. And I was able to find out that white building behind the Steel Hog was torn down. Looked like they were grading and also leveling the ground to allow for some sort of thing to happen. I'd said expansion or maybe, some sort of ride or something like that. And the park hinted at it wasn't a ride, so that kind of ended that clue. But I was able to spot, I think it's called Polyp, which is an old Kiddieland ride from Melrose Park. It's a great flat ride to add to the already extensive collection of flat rides in Indiana Beach, but I wanted to see if they were going to do more with it. I'm going to be honest, I thought they were going to add another flat ride. I did not see what was about to come on Tuesday when they announced what they announced. Now, on Tuesday, the park decided that they were going to announce a brand new coaster. Now, this is not a brand new coaster per se, but this is brand new for the park. The park has not added a coaster since 2008, and that was added by Tom Spackman. So the history of the coasters, 1984 Tig'rr was added, and then in 1995, Hoosier Hurricane was added, 2001 Cornball Express, 2002 Lost Coaster Superstition Mountain, and in 2008 Steel Hog. We're not going to count the Kitty with Land ride that was added. That's just a dragon wagon. I mean, it's a basic, whatever you want to call it, basic little kiddie coaster. But what the park was missing is what I've been saying for the longest time. They need a refurbishment or an upgrade of the water park, and they needed that major attraction, not a flat ride, but a major attraction such as a roller coaster. I, be honest, thought if they were to buy something, they were going to buy something like a boomerang, since those are pretty common and they're always on the auctioning block. So if they wanted to grab a hold of that in between the 2020 to 2021 season, they could do that. And we all know that roller coasters that are huge and expansive usually take about 2 years to prepare from start to finish. So we knew that they weren't going to be building a new roller coaster in the off season for the 2021 season. We had already speculated that Indiana Beach was probably going to retrack the Cornball Express and the Hoosier Hurricane and portions of other rides and attractions if they needed to be done so. But other than that, we had no clue what was about to get announced. So on Tuesday, I was advised from a friend, look out for a huge announcement. This is going to be huge on Tuesday. And I was like, what, another flat ride? He said, no, look out for this announcement. It's going to be huge. So around 3 o'clock Eastern time, 2 o'clock Central, maybe it was a little bit later than that, I'm not certain. I believe it was around 3 because I was doing an update of Velocicoaster at Universal Islands of Adventure, and that's when the announcement came through. Now, at the time, people didn't really tell me what was going on, and my members of my team didn't tell me, but it was announced that they had bought the Schwarzkopf Triple Loop from Mexico City, from La Fiera, and I'll go over a brief history of this. Now, the park has already announced substantially that they're going to do a complete revamp of this. It's not known who they're going through, but it is known that they are going to be ordering new trains for this, or a train. We don't know how many yet. None of that's been given to us yet. But what was announced is something major. So this Schwarzkopf coaster happens to be the first roller coaster in the world to hit 3 loops. So that's why it's called the Triple Loop. Now, we also have the Olympia roller coaster out in Germany, and we have a more larger version of this coaster. It's about 4,200 feet that's sitting over at West Emmington Mall over in Vancouver, Canada, not Washington. Apologize on that. But this happened to be one of the first, and unfortunately it has a rough history because the last owners that owned this did not take care of it, did not maintain it properly, and most likely caused heavy stress on the joints, on the structure, wasn't properly maintaining the train. So if you're not running according to manufacturer specs and you turn that off, you have to maintain the coaster the best that you can. Well, they weren't doing that, and there was an incident that happened, unfortunately, last year, causing 2 people to die on the coaster. This is not attributed to the coaster. I'm going to repeat this again. This is not attributed to the coaster. This is attributed to bad maintenance, not properly maintaining the coaster, not properly running the coaster according to manufacturing specs. But it is unknown at this time how much Gene Staples paid for it, but we speculate roughly he probably got it for a little over $1 million or more. But the cost of refurbishment, the cost to buy new trains, and the cost of installation. But this major attraction is going to be something that has obviously already put Indiana Beach on the map, because this is one of those rare models, and a lot of people thought this roller coaster was going to get scrapped, but they never thought that somebody was going to buy it and bring it back to life. And this is the great part of the community that is Indiana Beach and the park that is owned by Gene Staples. Some people weren't too happy with it, but a lot of people have to understand you cannot build a major roller coaster from start to finish, from design process to installation, in under a year. That takes 2 to 3 years to build. So this was something that was going to be done that was going to be substantial. Now, I've already hinted at, if they were to go with another roller coaster, I think the Intamin Hot Racer would be a great model, because it would be easy to maneuver it in and out of the already crowded amusement park. But that is not what happened. And then there was also rumors saying they're going to buy a Galaxy-like roller coaster, which obviously didn't happen either. This was expansive. Like, this roller coaster is going to be the longest, the tallest, and probably the fastest, I believe, roller coaster at Indiana Beach. Now, this is huge, and there's going to be roller coaster enthusiasts from all over the world that are going to want to ride it. Why? Because this thing has a lot of history. We could erase the bad history of it. So what happened in Mexico City last year, let's erase that. Let's start from scratch. We all know in the United States and in the state of Indiana, they have standards. They have ride inspectors that come in after the initial park people do it. But Gene Staples already said he's going to be contacting many members of the industry to make sure this thing is running the correct way and operated the correct way. So this roller coaster will be operated the correct way. They're not going to push the envelope. And they're going to make sure that new trains are ordered or trained, so you're not going to have the same issue ever again on the coaster. I'm hoping with the new train or trains that obviously it runs more smooth, because judging from the old POVs and friends who have rode it, they said it was an intense roller coaster, but it was kind of rough. So I think the trains and the track had something to do with that. And you can see right here with this footage that it was hauling faster than probably it should have been, according to manufacturer specs. Now, this is a huge expansion. We believe it's going to go into the lot that I spoke about before, which is behind Steelhawk, and you'll see it here in the picture. And that area will house it easily. This roller coaster is 3,400 feet long, and it sits about 114 feet tall. So that, like I said, it's going to make it the longest and the tallest roller coaster at the park. Now, this is a great addition for the park, because it's not only going to attract people from all around the country, but all around the world, and roller coaster enthusiasts are already talking about this. And I know some parks don't, happen to like roller coaster enthusiasts because of, some rocky paths. But this is good for the park, because this is going to cover the park in ways that people might not have been interested in coming to Indiana Beach. And, that happens with small parks. A lot of people, a lot of the general public, roller coaster enthusiasts, they end up going to the major parks, and they don't really hit up the smaller parks unless they're heavy into the idea of being an enthusiast. And then, yes, they do go all around even the small parks. But this puts Indiana Beach on the map. There's no significant 2021 expansion happening in the Midwest. You know, we have Iowa with the Dragon Slayer, which is another SNS free spin, but nothing substantial in our opinion. And there's reasons for that. So, but obviously the economy, obviously COVID-19 have something to play with that. And Kings Island just added Orion. Cedar Point's probably another year or two away from adding a major coaster. Kentucky Kingdom, from what we understand, was going to open a new coaster, but decided not to. We don't know what's going on with that. And they could surprise us as well. Who knows? But this is the most substantial addition to any park in the Midwest. And there's reasons for it. It's a classic Schwarzkopf Triple Loop. It's the world's first triple looping coaster. And many people that I've talked to said this is the most intense coaster that they've ever ridden. Obviously, they said Mindbender up at West Emmington might be a little more intense, but this is one of the most intense coasters that they've ever ridden, and I'm excited for it. My team's excited for it. Members of the Indiana Beach community are excited for it. I think you should be excited for it as well. And don't look at the past of the coaster, like I said, because when you look at the past of it, you're going to judge it the wrong way because it's something that happened that had nothing to do with the roller coaster. It had to do with bad maintenance. It had to do with improper operation of the coaster, causing for the coaster to be operated at a higher stress level and causing it to have the issues that it had. Now, if they had followed the correct manufacturer specs, you would not have had those type of issues. You would have probably had maybe a couple issues here and there because it's an older coaster, but proper replacement, proper maintenance, proper operation would have probably caused the coaster not to have the issues that it had. And there's a whole video online if you wanted to research it. They talk about the accident. You'll see that the problem with the accident was not the roller coaster itself. It was improper maintenance of the coaster. And if you get a chance, go ahead and check that out whenever you get a chance. But let me know what you think. I think this is a great addition for the park. I'm excited for it because the park hasn't had a major addition since 2008. This is going to put Indiana Beach back on the map. I mean, it already is back on the map with the new owners, Gene Staples and his family, buying Indiana Beach. But they needed something, like I said, substantial. And this is going to attract people from all over the United States, all over the world, to ride this coaster because this is one of those staples. I know friends that traveled all the way down to Mexico City to be able to ride this coaster. That's how substantial it is to the community. So let me know what you think by commenting below. Do you think this is a good addition to Indiana Beach or not? Comment below with your explanation. Please try to keep it civil. I will delete all comments if they're not civil. Whatever comments aren't civil. But please hit that subscribe button, bell notification button so you can watch future videos to drop down from Midwest Coaster fans. And until next time, this is Chris signing off. Have a great day.